So, for those who have not seen the Kick-Ass movie, Kick-Ass is just an ordinary guy who goes out and puts on a suit like this, and then he's fighting against criminalists. So, and for those who have seen the movie, he got really beaten up the first time. So really, he was beaten by a knife and drove over by a car. But then he stood up. He stood up, and all of a sudden more people joined. So Hit Girl and Big Daddy joined, and then they really started to kick ass. And this is actually my talk in a very condensed way, if you put that on software development. You don't have to wear a suit to do kick-ass development, just for that. But it's like that. You just have to go out, you will fail, but you stay up and then kick ass again. So this is what the talk is about. But first I want to set some expectations here. Who actually expects to see some code, some kick-ass code, some awesome code? Really? Well, this is the only code you will see. You can leave now. Or like the guy, I was sitting behind him in the audience, keep on coding. I took this picture just 1 hour ago. So, go ahead. Who's actually here to learn a new methodology, the new kick-ass methodologies, the new Scrum, the new Kanban, the new way to develop software? Let me tell you this, there is no kick-ass manifesto. Really, we haven't written down a kick-ass manifesto, and you will not get certified after this talk. Really, Atlassian hasn't done any certification, so it's basically just about around to kick ass. So who just wants to kick ass? Huh? Who don't? Okay, well, this is your freaking talk here. You're right in this talk, and yeah, that's me wearing the mask. I didn't bring the mask with me because I was a little bit afraid of custom here in Ukraine, so I was just leave it at home. So, how do we do actually kick-ass software development? How do we do that? Well, 2 words. Use Java. Thank you and goodbye. Oh, sorry. The programming language is, of course, not so important. I mean, you can kick ass with C#, you can kick ass with Ruby, you can kick ass with Groovy, you can kick ass with PHP. I'm not so sure about that. Are PHP programmers here in the room? Oh, sorry. So, my last PHP experience is 10 years ago, so you probably can also kick ass with PHP, I'm pretty sure. But I'm Sven, I'm a old Java developer. I've been developing Java applications for 10 years, Java enterprise applications, Java Swing applications. So I'm a Java guy. And now I work as an Atlassian ambassador in Europe. I'm traveling around giving people advices how they be better in software development and how they kick ass in software development. If you like the talk, you can tweet me at SvenPet is my Twitter handle. If you don't like the talk, yeah, you can also tweet me. So I want to learn about how I can better kick ass with that talk. Thank you. So, okay, let's get started here. So when we think about software development, what do we want to improve? So this is just my random list, my personal random list, what I want to become better at. So I want to write better software, better quality, and the software should be awesome. The customers should love my software. That's what I want to do. I want to have less overhead. I don't want to spend that many times in meeting, reading emails. I just want to code. That's what I want. And then I want faster development. I really want my customers to get my software, try it out, give me feedback. That's awesome. That's great. So shorter cycles, shorter development cycles. And hopefully that also leads to a happier customer. I want to make the customer happy. I want to make him smile when he uses my software. And hopefully this will end up in happy developers. I want to be a happy developer that really kicks ass. So if you would have asked me, hey Sven, how do I achieve these things 5 years ago? I would have told you, be agile. That's a solution to everything. So you value the customer more, you have short feedback cycles, short iterations, all this great stuff. Wow, cool. Well, I said 5 years ago I would have said that. So what's the state of Agile in the year 2013? Well, we hear more and more people bashing on Agile, like this guy here, the diabolic developer, Martin Verboek. I stole this slide from him. He says something like, compiles, hey, so we ship it. We just put it on our production servers. Great, good. Well, it's totally stupid. I mean, this doesn't really value the customer at all. I mean, he's testing my software. So I should test my software. I should deliver quality. So this is totally stupid. But a little voice inside me, and I'm a geek, says, "Ooh, awesome, great. Yeah, I love it. Ship it. Cool." All the people from the dark manifesto of Agile software development, they're actually replacing some words in the Agile manifesto like individuals and interactions and not process and tools. So that's what they're saying. Another people saying they just replaced the whole Agile manifesto by 2 words, and these words are programming, motherfucker. This is the real value in software development. So that's what they say. Okay, the question is really, if we see these people bashing on Agile, coming up with new ideas, is Agile actually dead? Should we wait for the next big hype, for the next thing that's coming up? Is Agile actually dead? Okay. Well, I would say no, not really, because I think every methodology or every technology goes through this Gartner hype curve. And you see, at the beginning of the curve, everybody loves it. The thought leader says, this is the best thing you can do. This is really the best thing you can do, so do it, do it. And then people are adopting this, saying, yay, it works. And then people realize, not everything that the thought leaders promised us really works. It doesn't solve everything. And I think we're somewhere on the downside realizing that Agile software development doesn't solve all of our problems. So actually, what should we do? We actually need some smart people that tells us what's the next thing, the big next thing. What's that? Tell us, please. We're waiting for the next guru. Well, this is of course stupid. I mean, we shouldn't wait for the next guru. We should be ourselves. Look at ourselves. What sucks in software development and kick ass again. Really, we should improve ourselves. So don't wait for the next guru that tells you, like Uncle Bob saying, software craftsmanship, that's the next big thing. Yeah, we follow you into the light, Uncle Bob. That's great. No, we should look at this ourselves. I mean, no, it's good. Software craftsmanship is good. Not saying that, but it's not the only thing we should do. And then there's another thing on this. I call this legacy teams. So legacy teams actually. So not every team that works on legacy code is necessarily a legacy team. That's not what I'm saying. But legacy teams are often working on legacy code, and legacy teams are a little bit like legacy code. So they are really hard to change. If you change one guy, you don't know what happens with the other guys. That's one of my definition of legacy teams. And actually, they may think adding process helps. I actually had a boss who was saying that if we find a mistake, if our customers find a mistake in our software, well, how can we prevent that? So we're adding a process for that. We're adding more quality process that really helps. Or they're saying changing stuff is way too complicated, way too complicated. We have this framework that is 10 years old and it's baked into our systems and we cannot change that. I'm not saying that you have to change that, but look at the things that are out there. Look at the new technologies that are out there and try to change in small steps. But legacy teams don't think that way. And then they say, old decisions still apply. We have made this decision matrix, this big one 10 years ago. We're looking for a build system, and actually ARNT was the best one that was out there, so we stick to ARNT. Well, gray list there. We have this decision matrix, so don't. So old decisions still apply. That's also a pattern for legacy teams. Well, I would say to these teams, or maybe you have a friend that's working in a legacy team, tell him, hey, guys, let's improve, change things, do something new, try something out in order to kick ass again. yeah, some legacy teams may think, oh, I don't give a, but I don't think we can change that anyway. So, well, okay, let's start with my 4 ass-kicking topics that I have prepared. So the first one is deliver kick-ass software. Then we will talk about what's with one kick-ass team, kick-ass collaboration, how we can collaborate better together, and then kick-ass automation. So let's start with the first one: deliver kick-ass software. Well, what is kick-ass software? Well, for me, kick-ass software is if my customer looks like this. Well, maybe not exactly like this, but if he smiles like this when he uses my software day in, day out, if he opens the software in the morning and says, oh, great, now I can start working. If it makes him so productive, then I know I'm delivering kick-ass software. So, how do we know that we built the right thing? We want to build the right thing, but how do we know that, actually? Who knows the Microsoft kin? Has anybody heard of the Microsoft? 1, 2, 3, oh, wow. 4. That's more than I expected, actually. These are the first 4 guys. I'm doing this talk at a lot of conferences, and these are the first 4 guys that know the Microsoft kin. Well, the Microsoft kin was developed by Microsoft. It was a mobile phone, some phone for the hipster community. So if you make a photo, you can share it totally immediately on Facebook, on Twitter, wherever. And they actually bought a company. They developed this, and they had a big marketing bash and brought it to the market in the States. And then nobody wanted it. Nobody wanted this phone. They spent $1 billion on that, on buying this, developing this, marketing, and then they did a good thing. They removed it from the market. They removed it directly from the market. After 40 days, they stopped it. They didn't try to fix it. They stopped it immediately. So actually, how do we know that we built the right thing before we built the right thing? We want to know that before we built the right thing. So at Atlassian, we have one sentence, and this is, fake it till you make it. You can totally go so far with faking your software. You can totally fake everything. Like these guys from IBM. It was decades ago, and they had a speech-to-text experiment. So they have said they have developed a software, speech-to-text software, awesome software, somewhere 20, 30 years ago. And then they wanted to invite some secretaries and try the software, that they could try the software. So what they did, they had just had a microphone and a screen placed there. And the test person who spoke into the microphone, and on the screen, magically, the text appeared. Wow, awesome. But actually, they didn't develop that software. It was actually one guy who could fast type. He was sitting there with headphones and typed very, very fast. They faked it. They totally faked it. But the good thing is that they found out that this is not a good idea. People cannot control the cursor like backspace, backspace, delete, delete, delete. That's not working just with a microphone, or people get really, they couldn't speak at the end of the day because they have spoken the whole day. So that really didn't work out, and they stopped developing it, and they didn't invest a lot of money. But actually, even before that, you can start faking things. And that's what we're doing at Atlassian, and we call this paper prototypes. It's totally cheap. Paper prototypes are cheap. You just need a scissor, a pen, some glue, and a piece of paper or 2 pieces of paper, and then you can start developing your prototype. And that's what our designers do. They go into this prototype sessions. They have the user story, the idea of what this should solve, and then they try to make prototypes with a paper, and then they come out with 15 ideas where they found out when they do that paper prototype that this really didn't work out. So that's it. It's as easy as that. Really. And then they find out this just doesn't work, and they go out with 2 designs that really did work. And the good thing is they were not really connected to the idea. They are not really connected to the idea of this paper prototype. That's the good thing. And they can throw that away. If you do a prototype, just in HTML and Swing, whatever, you're connected to the ideas. You have maybe invest 1-2 hours already, but these are just 5 minutes and you throw it away, throw it in the bin. That's cool. But actually, we have all working software out there. We want to improve that working software. So the software is already running, and we want to improve that. But how do we know which parts of the software we should improve? How do we know that? What should we do? What makes the customer more happy if we improve that angle, that feature? Well, we do that through feedback. We want to have feedback from our customers, saying us what bugs them and what they want to have changed. But how do you actually generate a kick-ass feedback experience? Well, I've been to the airport in Heathrow and saw this thing. I went through the security, and then it said, how was your security experience today? There was this thing. And I just went there, and you could see that immediately. It was very, very easy to find. You go through the security, and then there are these terminals. And then it's very simple. There are just 4 buttons you can press: nice or not so nice or horrible, and well, and it's fast to submit. I just pressed the button and then I was off. Very, very fast, very easy to find, and very, very simple. This is a kick-ass feedback experience. So how do we do that in software? Well, we are developing a tool called Jira Agile, and it's an add-on for Jira. And it was called Greenhopper a few months ago, but we renamed that to Jira Agile. And we developed a new board for that one. And we want to have as much feedback as we could get for this new board, this new Scrum board. So we put actually the gut feedback button just on the top of it. So everybody could see that immediately where they could submit feedback. And then if you press that one, you got in simple form, an in-application form, which is also very, very important that people don't switch to another website and come back to your application. It's an in-application form. It's very easy to fill out. Just a few fields are needed to fill out, and then you could easily submit the feedback. And you press the submit button, and then it's there. So it was easy to find. It's very simple, and it was very, very fast to submit because you didn't have to fill that many things out, and you returned to the page you have been before. So we actually had 4 times as much feedback as we had before. When the link was down there where the feedback links always are, down at the bottom of the page, we got 4 times as much feedback. That's great, so much feedback, isn't that? Well, somehow we have to protect our developers from that many feedback. We got so much feedback, and somehow we have to, we are hired to do software development. So we don't want to deal with feedback that much. We were really specialists in software development. Why should we read feedback? Isn't that right? Right. Okay. Actually, the Gmail team, they coined a term for that, and they call that the shit umbrella. And it's a little bit like this. So these numbers are a little bit old. So I think 1.5 years old, where they had 100 developers and 425 million users, and you could do easily the math on that. If you see that, it's 1 developer per 4.25 million users. So they don't get anything done if they just deal with feedback. So they have this umbrella where the product managers take care of everything and pick the things out of the feedback and prioritize the backlog. That's what they do. But actually, who has 425 million users and 100 developers here in the room? Yeah, that's the same as we have at Atlassian. So we are not doing Gmail. We're not Gmail. We have maybe 350 developers at Atlassian and around a few million users. So at Atlassian we say everybody has to go on the front line. Everybody has to know what's going on with software development, with feedback from our customers. Everybody has to know what bugs our customer, what's the problem with our software. So we're sending them to conferences where they can speak with customers and so on and so on. And actually, we want to close the feedback loop and get personal. That's our goal, what we want to reach. And with the Greenhopper team, or the Jira Agile team, they actually had a stand-up, kind of a stand-up in the morning for 45 minutes, where they went through all the feedback items for the new board, and then they discussed the feedback, and actually they gave also feedback to the customers. If for example somebody said, I want to have this feature, and they said, oh no, we're not doing that. That's not the direction our new board should go. Well, the customer really appreciate that if they get personal feedback from developers. So the customer knows that the feedback has reached the right person in the organization, and the decision is no. Okay, well, they value that very, very much. And actually, our fisheye product manager, Stan Pittet, he closed a ticket on, I think it was Visual Source Safe support just half a week ago, and the first feedback that he got. So we said we are not doing Visual Source Safe support in fisheye anymore. And the first feedback we got, thank you for being so transparent. That's great. So they really value it that you get personal and be honest. But that's not all. We are also sending our developers on support. So each developer at Atlassian have to spend 1 week in first level support. I mean, second level support we're doing anyway, but first level support they have to spend 1 week to learn about what bugs the customer. What's the problem? What's the problem on the front line? What's the problem in the real world? Is there a problem with a login if people forget their password? It says, is it too complicated? And then they can come back after the week and say, okay, the support is providing a workaround for this, but really we can solve that in software, make it easier for the customer, make him more awesome. So that's what we do. Developers on support, that's our program. Okay, good. I would say care about your customers and have an effective feedback loop, a very effective feedback loop. That's important here. So keep improving. The next thing I want to talk about is how we work together as one kick-ass team. And actually the support example is a good example because people in support learn also how development works. So they speak to each other, they understand each other. The developers understand the support, and support understand the development. So this is a good example for one kick-ass team. Let's have a look at another example. So we have developers and testers. And there are different roles and different responsibilities. Also here, we have studied for a long time, we have programmed for a long time. We are the experts in developing software. And then we have the testers that are very, very good in testing. They have all the test theory, learned everything about it. So they are very, very good in testing. So they have different roles and different responsibilities, isn't that right? Well, if we do it like this and throw things over the wall as developers to the quality assurance, I hope nobody's doing that in that room. We know we get these problems here. We get bottlenecks in front. I mean, before big releases, big bang releases, the quality people they work a lot. They have to work a lot, and the developers are waiting. Oh, let's get the bugs. Show me the bugs, and then I fix it. Great. And the most important thing is they lose accountability. The developers lose accountability. They are not accountable anymore for their software development. So they say this feature is ready, QA test it, and show me where I did bugs, and then I fix that for you. That's fine. I'm waiting for you to assure that the quality is good. So that's the most important thing here. And then we at Atlassian, we are very engineering driven. We love engineering stuff. We love automated testing. We love to automate this. And we thought, actually, we can solve everything through automated testing. That's great. But then, actually, our customers, they found bugs. And we said, how can that be? We have a 100% test coverage. That should be everything should be right here. Until we said, okay, let's hire a tester. And he said, maybe you should manual test also your software. And actually, that went good. So we hired one more tester and one more tester. So how does that scale? That doesn't scale really well. And at Atlassian, we have a tester to developer ratio from 13 developers to 1 tester. And that's why we have this program we call Developer on Test. So developers are actually testing the software from each other. So another developer is testing the software from another developer. That's what we do. Now you might say, so the developers are doing all the work and the QA people are just hanging around, telling you must test better, there are bugs in the software. It's actually not like this. So we found out that actually developers can as easy as test the easy things as good as the testers. So they spend the same time and find the same amount of bugs with easy things to test. So our testers are actually dividing our user stories in easy to test, hard to test, and they test the hard to test stories. So that's what our QA do. And QA doesn't mean at Atlassian quality assurance. It means quality assistance. They are actually there to train the developer to become better testers. That's what we do. And they're doing all the hard stuff, creating test data, looking at how can automation be better, test automation be better. So they are doing this stuff and testing the hard things. So this is quality assistance. So we call that dot, and the verb for it is dotting. And these are 6 tips for kick-ass dotting. The first 3 tips are for start with dotting, and then I have 3 more tips for advanced dotting. So the first one is, I already said that, we're sending them on a 1-week training. Every developer has to learn the basics about testing. So that's what we do. They learn the theory about testing. We're sending them on a 1-week training course. And then they come back and they actually have the theory, but they need praxis now. So we pair with them. So the testers are pairing together with the developer is testing, the tester is saying, oh, if I would be you, I would test more into that direction here. So this is pairing, what we do. So they learn, the developer is learning the practical test things. And then another thing we do is we call blitz tests. And blitz tests are actually not even dotting, it's also fodding, finance on test, modding, marketing on test. So blitz test is, we have a milestone release and we want to test that. So we have 3 new features in our new Jira version, and we want to test these features inside out. So we're inviting the whole company for joining us for a 2-hour or 3-hour testing session. And then we're testing, so our QA department saying, okay, you test that feature, and you just trying to break the whole thing. And then we are testing for 2 hours, and the QA department is collecting all the feedback and remove the duplicates and prioritize the backlog. So that's blitz test at Atlassian. So now we come to the advanced dotting topics I have. So advanced dotting is test recipes. I said the QA's department, they are testing, the testers are testing the more complicated stuff. This is not true anymore. They are writing test recipes, how to test things. And then the developer is taking this test recipe and can go through the list how to test the complicated stuff. That's what we're doing right now. And then this is the opposite of pairing. This is split sessions. And we're sitting actually, we make that we want to test a feature, and then a developer is testing the feature, and in another room the tester is testing the feature. And then they compare the results at the end of the split session when they are ready. And then they learn from each other, how did you find that bug, and so on and so on. And then we trying to experiment with something we call bug hunter, where one guy in the team is responsible for is the bug hunter of the week, and he's really going to the done column in our Scrum board and saying, okay, I wanna find a bug here in that feature. I will find a bug. I'm the bug hunter. We are experimenting with that. I cannot say what that does mean to our team experience in the team of that breaks things. I don't know, but we are experimenting with that. Actually, quality is everybody's responsibility at Atlassian. When we introduced dotting, we had a bug rate from around 36%, and it went actually down to 9%. So every feature that we said as developers is ready, we found in 9% we found still bugs, and before it was 36%, which is pretty amazing. And actually, quality is everybody's responsibility, also my responsibility as an ambassador traveling around. And we are dog fooding our software. That means I'm using the latest version of Confluence, for example. And if I find a bug, it's my responsibility to send that to our development department. Okay, designers. Yeah, developers think they are good designers sometimes. Then they have this test program they're writing just to generate test data, and saying, "Oh, awesome! That's a great program," and it looks like this. Really. And then, you know, what's happening is that the customer says, "Oh, I need some tool for generating test data," and the developer is very, very happy and exciting and say, "Oh, I have a tool for that. Look at that." Well, I cannot use it. Well, I will add some color. Maybe you can use it now better. It's easier now. No, it's not really. Or developing websites that looks like this. So, yeah, that happens. That happens. So at Atlassian, we ask ourselves the question. We have very developers with very good design skills at Atlassian that said, okay, we are making the design of it, and they had really very good skills. And we said, why should we hire actually a designer then? Why should we do that? We don't need a designer. And then customers were saying, oh, look at that. Maybe you should have a designer. The user experience is not very good. And the first designer that came into Atlassian had a look at our drop-down menus. So he had a look at our products drop-down menus and looked at that and said, oh, you have so many different drop-down menus. So I had a look at drop-down menus. I found that one, and they look all different. It's a horrible user experience. And he looked through, and this list doesn't really end here. So this is what, but each developer thought, I can do a new cool drop-down menu. So the question is, why should we have designers? Huh? Because we suck at designing. That's it. Nah, I told you we have very skilled designers. They actually don't suck at designing. Were good drop-down menus. They actually, how do we scale that? How do we scale that? So we hire designers. How do we scale that? And you have the answers, of course. It's use developers. Use developers for designers, because we had already very passionate, good skilled developers with design skills. So actually, our developers just needed some more guidance. They needed some better guidance for not creating the 110th drop-down menu. So we actually came up with, when we fixed all the stuff, we came up fixed all the bad stuff in Jira and in Confluence. Our designers came up, sit together for 2 weeks, and came up with our design guidelines. So they wrote down design guidelines, and we didn't want to have that big design guidelines. We just want to have just a few controls, very easy, so people can just take a design, take a button design and drop it into the software. Simple rules like colors, simple colors, not too complicated. And then they actually developed an editor where you could use a little bit of markup language and test your design. You can see that immediately. That helps developers seeing, okay, this looks like this. They can go with the finished design to design, and it will look like this. What do you think? And then they can get feedback. So they don't have to run to a designer for each big thing they want to do. Maybe for the big things, but for the small things, they don't have to run to a designer. They can decide themselves. And this means actually dev speed. It means kick ass again and be very fast. So I told you we had gifted designers at Atlassian and the gifted developers with design skills at Atlassian, and we wanted to improve them. So we actually made also here a workshop for them, that they really are the design hubs inside the teams, that they are responsible for the design of the team, and send them to design workshops. So this is it. Developers are designers. Cool. But there's one more thing here. Our designers said, well, there's so much friction always. We are doing our design in Photoshop, and then we're handing over to a developer who's translating that to HTML, JavaScript, Swing, whatever, and that's really friction. He's doing the same design just in another language again. So, and we want to remove friction. We want to move fast forward. Also our designers want to do that. They want to see their design immediately in code. I mean, they also want to be agile and fast and things like that. So not even developers, not only developers are designers at Atlassian, also designers are developers. So they are allowed at Atlassian to design in code. They are allowed to write HTML. They are allowed to write JavaScript. And then we have a quality mechanism that makes sure that they don't break things. But anyway, they are actually designing directly in code. So no friction here, no friction. Well, what I wanted to take you away from that is that department barriers, they actually slow us down. That's always an overhead, always friction with department barriers. And we want to work together from the idea to the operation, actually, as one kick-ass team. So that's actually the message here. So the next thing is kick-ass collaboration. How do we work together, better work together over the whole world? So I'm a programmer, and I remember the good old times when I was the lonesome cowboy coder. I was the only one coding. I knew all the code. It's my pet project. I knew all the code. The quality is awesome because I just wrote it. And there were no merge conflicts. No, it's just me checking in the code. Awesome, great. And really, the trouble starts with the team. When I had to work together with a lot of people, with my team, and then I got merge conflicts. I didn't like the quality, and I didn't know all the stuff in the code base. It's just there were some foggy areas like the importer thingy. I have no idea what this is doing. So how do we collaborate effectively on code? We need to collaborate. I mean, it's some social aspects there. We need to collaborate effectively on code. And let's move the topic a little bit and look at traffic. And we see this is a typical traffic. I think it's somewhere in the States where you have a red light, cars have to stop, and other cars are driving, going on. And then green light, other cars stop, and you can pass on. So very, it's not really flowing. And then compare this to a traffic in India. We see this is a traffic junction in India where it is really flowing. I watched the video I think 30 times. I cannot see any rule there. But it's working. I don't know. It's magic. It's good. So that's great. We don't need traffic rules, don't we? Well, okay, this comparison is a little bit unfair because we all know what traffic rules are good for. They are protecting us from accidents. And I'm pretty sure that more people dies in accidents in India than in the States, but that's just my stats. Okay, let's go back to software development. What does that mean to software development? What does rules tell us about software development? Well, they should protect us from making mistakes, merge conflicts, problems, the software breaks. So, but I have the impression that some companies are going too far with bad rules. I mean, mistakes are bad in the software, but some companies are going too far. And I actually have worked for a company who said, "Oh, we have this awesome development process, and it looks like this. You develop, you hand it over to another developer, you go to the QA, it can come back, and things like that. You know, this is actually not a actual picture of a development process, but how do we make it very simple and collaborate good on code with just some basic rules? So here are 3 things we do at Atlassian when collaborating on code: branch, pull, merge. No more, no less. That's it. So we're using Git and we're branching a lot. We're actually branching for every task. Not for every user story, not for every epic. We're branching for every task. Every small task gets a branch at Atlassian. And then our branches have very short life. So an average of 2 days, that's the branch life until we merge back to the main line, to the main code base, to our actual development line. Which makes it pretty good that you don't have that many merge conflicts. You get an overview of everything. So that's pretty cool. But that's not the whole story. We also doing pull requests because we want to assure good quality. So we're doing pull requests. So pull requests are basically you have your branch, you want to merge, and you tell your teammates, hey, this is the code, how it will look like if we merge it right now. And then you can discuss it. So why actually do we want to discuss code changes? So let's have a little game show here. Our game show candidates, Andy, Julie, Steve, and Lynn, are ready to answer us the question, why do you want to discuss your code changes? Let's see. Julie presses the button and says, beep, I want to have better quality, which is totally good, totally true. Better quality. If we discuss things, the quality gets better. We can find bugs very, very early. Very good answer, Julie. Somebody else want to press? Lynn. I want to learn. And this is the best answer you can give on these questions. Learning about how other programmers are doing stuff, learning about the whole code base, that's the thing why you want to discuss code changes. The quality is okay, but learning is the most important thing when you discuss code changes, when you do code reviews. Andy, come on, press the button. I want to feel better. Good answer. Good answer. I mean, you share the pain if you have a bug in the software. You said, oh, we all reviewed the code, we didn't find the bug. Great. You don't have the bad feeling when you go home and saying, oh, hopefully it works. And when we put it in production, you share this, so you learn from each other. And then Steve, come on, answer something. I want to blame people. Wrong answer, because we should have a nice language when we discuss code changes. We shouldn't blame people for that they introduced maybe a mistake. So nice language, that's very important. Okay, and we invite maybe 5 people for a code review of the team. 5 people review the code, and if we get 2 approvals, we are allowed to merge. We don't want to stop. That means moving fast forward. We don't want to stop waiting for all 5 to review the code. It's okay for us if 2 are approved the code changes, then we can move forward. Okay, but then we have to collaborate also outside software development. We have to discuss designs, we have to discuss features, all this stuff. And at Atlassian, we like actually co-located teams. We prefer that. We like people in offices working together, collaborating, easy collaboration. You can go to each other's desk. That's very good. So we have offices in Sydney, in San Francisco, and in Gdansk, in Poland. And by the way, shameless plug, we're hiring not only in Gdansk, but this is the nearest city. We're also hiring in Sydney and in San Francisco. So we prefer co-located teams. But the truth is that's not always possible. We have people everywhere, spread over the world. I mean, I'm working from Hamburg, Germany. So we have people actually everywhere. And then it comes down to where do you actually work best? What's the best place for you to work? Is it inside the office? Is it maybe in the coffee bar next door? Or is it on the couch at home? And my answer for that is, it depends. It's not one thing that rules them all. I mean, I can collaborate the best thing when I come to Amsterdam, to our Amsterdam office, or to our San Francisco office. It's the best thing to collaborate together with people, that you get the best results if you do collaboration. But if you want to really concentrate on stuff, I prefer my home office or a coffee bar next door. That's what I do. So actually, how do we connect all these places now effectively together, that the collaboration flows? How do we do that effectively? Well, let me tell you one thing. There's one great technology out there that we all already use, and it's called emails. That's great. You know, I love emails. They are working offline. I can write emails on planes. They work one-to-many. I can have a lot of people getting the email from me, recipients. They work asynchronous. I don't have to answer directly. I can wait 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours until the answer, and I can add people. I can just forward emails to other people and inform them. That's so great. We love emails. You might think that now. Are you crazy, Sven? We all know that there are things with emails. My inbox looks in the morning like this. It's just too much emails. So we all know the things. They are bad for conversations. Forced back conversations with emails are really, really bad. You get lots of spam with emails. Some people are really talking too much in emails, so you get that long emails, you have to read through all of it. And it always needs an action. I have to delete it. I have to put it in another folder, whatever. So we want to avoid emails as much as possible. And actually, we are using chat heavily at Atlassian. Who's using chat at work here? Wow, that's great. So let me tell you how we use it at Atlassian. So we have a lot of chat rooms at Atlassian. I think 100 chat rooms or something like that. And we have, for example, the Confluence developer chat room, where our Confluence developer hangs out. They are chatting about code changes. Actually, we connected the chat with our Bamboo build server, so we get also with the build fails. It's also a chat message. We we connected it to Bitbucket, so we get a message when somebody gets a pull request in, does a pull request. So all these things are connected in our Confluence developer, on Jira developer, and Stash developer, blah blah blah. Chat rooms. Then our design teams have their own chat room where they exchange mock-ups. They exchange pictures of new designs and discuss about that. Then we have an enterprise discussion chat room where when I get a questions from a big company, a big enterprise company, I can hop into that chat room and ask the question, and the experts are sitting there. They give me the answer, and then I leave the chat room again because I don't want to hear all the answers from all the questions from all other people. I just wanted to have this answer. And then we have something like a beer drinker and cat lover chat room. I don't know what's up with that. I've never been there, but it's actually the important thing is you can just go into the chat room. You need to kick ass. Just these ones, just these conversations. So chat, I already said that it's great for remote conversation. I mean, I'm working from Hamburg. It's great if I just jump on the chat, can chat with a guy in San Francisco, or if you work at home, you can easily chat with a guy in the office. That's great. But it's also, we found out it's great for local conversations because people want to stay in the zone. So they put up headphones and they don't want to get disturbed by conversations in the room. So we actually chat. We chat about this. And when you're ready with your zone thing, you can start your chat again and then see what's happening. So there's a history of chats going on. So you can see what happened in the chat room. That's pretty cool. And it works great for different time zones. So you can, if Sydney goes to bed in the evening, San Francisco wakes up and they can see what's happening in the Confluence development. So the Confluence development team in San Francisco can see, oh yeah, that's why they made the decision. Great, but I don't agree with that. So I can chat directly to the guys in Sydney and they can say it when they wake up. That's pretty cool. And then it's very easy to pull people into conversations. You just mention them, just use the @mention annotation, and then you can pull them into conversation. Like Thomas had an idea half a year ago when I discussed it, so let's hear Thomas' opinion about that. So that's very easy. Then Thomas gets a notification and he jumps into the conversation, which is pretty cool. All right, but we should choose our tools wisely. Sometimes emails are maybe the better way to make discussions. No, not to make discussions, but to use. And sometimes chat is better. So choose your tools wisely. Another thing we had in collaboration was we were moving in Sydney. We had one great building and we were growing, so we had to move in another building. So we had also an office on the other side of the street. The problem was just that this was a heavy traffic road there, and it was a little bit like Frogger. Going over the road and not hit by a car. Even though there was a traffic light just 100 meters away, people tend to run over the road. It was very dangerous. So we thought, how can we do that better? How can we collaborate better between the two buildings? And somebody saw this movie. Does anybody know what movie that is? Stargate. It's Stargate. And we thought, yeah, we totally built a portal from one office to the other one. That's our solution. Great. Well, maybe we need some more development time for that, but we did something like that. So you can watch through our portal. You cannot go through, you can watch through. And it's very easy, very cheap. We just have a television, a camera, a Mac Mini. That's it. And then we can say, hey, can you get me Angelica? Can you get me to the portal? And then you can really have discussion. And it's a way better experience than doing a Skype call with each other. So this is pretty cool. It feels really like you're having a conversation with it. And so we solved that problem. Well, That's just random examples here what we do at Atlassian. I mean, if you see collaboration friction, try to remove that. Try to get better. Try to improve your collaboration, and really think about your workflows. You should have easy workflows, and that means fast development. All right, the last thing I want to talk about is kick-ass automation. Well, we are developers, and actually what we do is, in our day-to-day work, we are helping people to be faster by actually automating their work. That's what we do. That's what we are hired for. That's what we're good at. We solve problems from our customers and automating their work. Great, good. We make them more productive. Awesome. But actually, how much time do you spend to automate your software development? How much time did you spend last week? Huh? Basically no time, because we are running iterations all the time and we have to make our software awesome. But we are good at that. We should think about that. So who's doing continuous integration here? Some hands down. Ooh. Okay. Who of those that are doing continuous integration are doing really kick-ass continuous integration? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Well, let me tell you this, and we look at Atlassian again, where our builds were really, they took too long. We had monster builds. They really took too long. They were much too complicated. Really complicated stuff. Nobody understood our builds. They were unstable. They were flickery, and it really we didn't have a concept for our builds. So everybody has put their things into that. So in short terms, our build really sucked, really. So what we actually did, we looked at our build, and what we want to achieve with that is that we want to fail fast. I mean, the best thing would be I check in my software and I got immediately feedback, okay, you broke a test. That would be awesome. I know it takes some time until the build is done, the tests are all run through, but this would be our preferred scenario. If we would have that, we would be happy. We're not there yet. We are far away from that, but we are trying to achieve that. So we actually, if you do your build, if you do your software, you check it in, the build server kicks off the build, and you just get back 2 hours later that the build failed, that you introduced a bug. You're already in the new task. You already have task switching there. You're already developing the next feature, and you have to go back to the feature before and fix that. That's what we want to avoid. That's what we want to avoid. So we want to be as fast as possible. So here are 4 things how we tamed our monster builds. Well, I wouldn't say we kicked ass again. We're still on the way, so I think our builds are now down to, Jira build is now down to 10-minute feedback time, which is still a little bit long, but it's okay. We had a few hours before, or 1.5 hours before, so it's good. And let me tell you how we did it. The first thing is a little bit shame, but yeah, that's how it was. Pass the artifact. Well, we have built the software a lot of times, and that took a lot of time. So now we're checking in. We built it once, checked it in Artifactory or Nexus or whatever you want to use, and then grab it from there. Grab if you do a test, grab just the artifact from there, and that saved us half the time. So we went down from 1 hour to half an hour. Shame on us. That's really bad. But that's when you look at your builds, what's happening inside your builds. The second thing we did was parallelize tests. So our test doesn't have to run sequentially. They don't have to be in sequent order, all our tests. They can run parallel. So we bought more hardware. We actually bought more EC2 instances and run our tests in parallel. That saved us also a lot of time. The third thing is we looked at our build strategy, and we had this big build pipeline where we did the build before. The first thing was we did the build, then we run our unit test, UI test, performance test, platform tests. So it was a build pipeline we had, and it took really too long especially these platform tests and performance tests. They take ages. So what we did is we said, okay, good. We have to do something here. So on every commit, we have to build the software and we have to do our unit and UI tests, because we found out that most of our bugs that we introduced were here. 90% of that were here. Then we say, okay, we are just building in layers, so the next layer is our platform tests, and that we're doing just every hour. So we grab the latest successful build from the first step and grab this from Artifactory and build that, make our platform test with that. And then we do performance test maybe every night. We're doing performance test where that really takes long, and we're doing that every night. So I agree, not that fast feedback cycle here, but still we build on every commit and we get fast feedback for UI tests and unit tests. That was our goal. And the next thing is look really at your statistics. Look at what's happening with your builds. What's inside? What takes time? Look at your stats and be a data porn. So you could parallelize tests. If you see that here, that this test takes too long, parallelize it. Look at your stats. Yeah, by that. Because faster builds means actually less task switching. You switch less tasks. Okay, more automation awesomeness we have at Atlassian. Building is just one automation thing we're doing. We also have something we call the flaky test detector. That's actually our QA developed that. So we all know this flaky test. Oh, the build failed. I press the green button again the button again to run the build. Oh, now it succeeded. Great. Okay, the build is good. But that's a flaky test. It doesn't tell you anything. So what we do is actually it automatically finds out this flaky test and puts them in quarantine. That means they didn't they're not run through anymore. And then automatically a Jira issue is opened. So and somebody has to look at it with the flaky test and they fix the flaky tests. Then we have wall boards all over the place, which means we have televisions. Every development team has 1 to 2 televisions showing actually data that we automatically capture, like builds, how many issues we have to fix for this iteration, yada, yada, yada. That's hanging all over Atlassian, hanging these televisions. Then we developed something, or we're currently developing something like we call a Freud bot. That's a static code analysis together with pull requests. So we have a robot looking at our pull request and finding out some static things about here. For example, you should not use a magic number, you should use a constant. That's what our Freud bot finds out and puts a comment into our code review automatically. Yeah. That's it. Use your skills to automate things. We are good at that. But just use your skills for that. And then we have also fun with automation, where we have built in a 24-hour hackathon a release button just with a Raspberry Pi, where we can really kick off the deployment cycle by just pressing a button, which is pretty funny. Okay, so these were my 4 ass-kicking topics, but these are just random things. These are just random things we are doing. So deliver kick-ass software, think about your feedback cycles, one kick-ass team, work together as one team, kick-ass collaboration, remove friction in collaboration, and automation. Use your skills to automate things. But as I said, these are just random things we're doing at Atlassian, where we saw that that our development was not really good. We could do better, and we tackled these things and changed it and make it kick-ass again. So these may be our values right now, where we say, okay, kick-ass software development means for us first kick-ass customer, then the team should be happy and kick-ass. Then we need dev speed, development speed, quality, and scale. But maybe it looks feature throughput by 50%, but also our support tickets went up by 10%. So maybe we should concentrate more on quality than on dev speed for the next year at Atlassian. We're currently discussing that. So look, these are your kick-ass values. I can't tell anything about that. So I did this question at the beginning, is Agile dead? And I would say no. These things I just showed you are very, very agile. We are changing things. We are constantly in change. This is agile. Agile is not dead. And we have one sentence at Atlassian, and we want to be excellent in everything we do. Everything we do, we want to be excellent at. We don't want to suck in one discipline. We want to be excellent in everything. It's like running a triathlon. If you're good at biking and you suck at swimming, well, you will never win a triathlon. You will never win a triathlon. You have to improve your swimming, stop biking maybe for 1 or 2 months, improve your swimming and your running, and then you can win a triathlon. Be excellent in every discipline. You might say now, we're going home, going to our managers and saying, oh, now we kick ass. We spend 1 day a week on automation. Better automation, great. But your managers may think, okay, good, yeah, there's no time for it. We have to run our iterations. Make a case. Tell them how this would improve your software development, how you become better, because they are actually humans too. You can talk to them, really. And I agree, some managers are easier to talk to, and some managers are a little bit harder to talk to. Yeah, that can be, but try it and make a case. And that's what we also do at Atlassian, share our successes and failures. We blog about everything. Everything we learn, we blog about, so the whole company knows what we're doing. And if you're doing awesome stuff and you blog about it, and other people sees that, they maybe jump on the train too and kick ass all of a sudden. And also about your failures. Maybe you blog about your failure, this doesn't work, but maybe somebody has an idea how to improve that, how to make that happen. So share your successes and failures. And this really means also building a kick-ass culture. It doesn't help if you're the only one who tries to improve the whole world, your whole software development. You have to find people like Kick-Ass did with Big Daddy and HitGirl. You cannot save the world on your own. You have to find and build a kick-ass culture that everybody in the company, or everybody in your team at least, is aware of where you suck, and tackle these things and make it loud. Kick-Ass. I told you this in the beginning, that the first gig Kick-Ass did, or the first thing Kick-Ass did, he got beaten by a knife and drove over by a car. But then he stood up again. He stood up again and did a second fight. Really. And this is also what you should do. I mean, sure you will fail, but actually step out of your comfort zone. I know it's comfortable in your comfort zone, but if you sit on your chair day in, day out, it will not change anything in your software development. Go out and try to change things in order to be more awesome. Otherwise, you can't be awesome, you can't improve. Step out of your comfort zone and try new things. At Atlassian, we have teams with different team names. So one team is called the Muppet team, one team is called the A-team, and of course, we also have a team that's called the Kick-Ass team. And they have a poster on the door. When they leave the room, they have a poster on the door they see every day. And it's this guy pointing at them and asking these questions. Did you kick ass today? And I want you to ask yourself these questions to yourself and your team every day. Did we kick ass today? Thank you very much. Thanks for your attention.